Mississippi House of Representatives is now in session. Please let the House come to order. Please stand as we're led in prayer today by the lady from DeSoto. Remain standing thereafter for the pledge.
Good morning. Can we bow our heads? Oh, give thanks unto the Lord, for he is good, and his mercy endures forever. Lord, I ask you to forgive us for all our past and present sins, and guide us to press towards the mark for the prize. Lord, I ask you to touch each and every representative here today. Give us common sense and wisdom to make decisions concerning our citizens of this state with unbiased hearts. Lord, as the week ends, give us traveling grace back home to our families. All these things I ask in your Son, Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. Salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good job. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. Closed machine, Madam Clerk.
There's a quorum present, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. We'll have the reading of the journal. Gentleman from Rankin moves. We dispense with the reading of the journal. All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Report of select committees.
We have none, Mr. Speaker.
Report of standing committees.
We have reports on the calendar, Mr. Speaker.
Introductions of bills and constitutional amendments. Gentleman from Lauderdale, Mr. Calvert.
Consent to dispense with the reading of the introductions.
Is there objection? Hearing none, we will do that. Resolutions, petitions, memorials, and other papers.
We have none, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. This time we'll have the introductions of guests and visitors. Gentleman from Lafayette, Mr. Williams.
Here. If you'll turn to the South Gallery, we have the ladies and the families from out of state with us this week for the barrel racing. And we have representation from Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, and with the races itself all over the state. So we welcome y'all here. We're glad you're in town. The Ivies, Pears, Carvers, Daniels, Newtons, and McKays. I am proud to be your neighbor. We love having you here. Mississippi is open for your business anytime.
Gentleman from Union, Mr. Creekmore.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, I would like to introduce our doctor of the day. Today's doctor started his family practice in 1973, and 47 years later, he's still taking care of the people in North Mississippi. He's given to and led his community greatly, and perhaps his most valuable contribution is the exemplary way in which he lives his life. So with Father's Day in mind, will you please give a warm welcome to your doctor of the day and my dad, Dr. Sam Creekmore.
Welcome, Doctor. We thank you for your service to us today. Lady from Lowndes, Miss McLean.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to introduce my sister, Dion Browse, who's here from Tampa today, and my daughter, Madison McLean. This is in the North Gallery.
All right, I don't see any further introductions at this time. Ladies and gentlemen, we do have a special guest that we want to honor today. I'm going to introduce the gentleman from Itawamba, and I'm going to request that Sergeant at Arms escort us. Is he not here? Our special guest was being honored in the Senate as well. He may still be down there, ladies and gentlemen, so we may come back to that if he's not yet arrived. Okay, looks like he has arrived, ladies and gentlemen. If you would, please stand. We have a Vietnam veteran here with us today.
Mr. President, I'd like to have a Rules Committee meeting in the Secretary's desk in the chamber while we're in session immediately. Thank you, Senator Kirby. Rules meeting in the chamber. Senator England, for what purpose to seek recognition?
I had a question previously to make sure Ms. Welch was aware of our audio issues we're having here, but I pass on that. Thank you, President.
Thank you, Senator England. Hopefully she doesn't have a problem with your check either, but we'll see here. All right, we're back on rules, and Senator Kirby has passed. That's rules 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. They will retain their place on the calendar. Senator McMahon, local and private. I ask to take up item 15 on today's calendar, Senate Bill 2905, and ask that the title be read. Would you read the title, Mr. Clerk? Senate Bill 2905, City of Hattiesburg, Makes the usual motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Please proceed. I would ask that Senator Johnson be recognized to explain the bill. Senator Johnson is recognized.
Take a little while, so y'all go ahead and sit down. Not only did he continue fighting through that battle, but there was a machine gun nest on top of a hill. And by crawling and doing everything he could do with his injury to get to that machine gun nest, he personally, after several folks had been killed alongside him, he personally was able to throw a grenade into that pillbox and destroy it. For the next 2 weeks, they tried to stay undetected from the Vietnamese in that battle. And he stayed on the ground for an additional 2 weeks, crawling through the jungle, injured, in a lot of pain. He was sent back to Japan for his medical injuries and was separately released from active duty. And he was never received the medals that he should have received. And it took a long time because the Department of Defense lost the paperwork. And Congressman Nunley, which was his uncle, fought very hard for that up to the day that he died. And then he passed it on to Congressman Trent Kelly, and Congressman Trent Kelly was able to get those medals presented to Lieutenant Dashell. I'll give you a brief summary of the medals, if I can find it. Okay, the Silver Star was the main one, including the Air Medal, National Defense Medal, Vietnam Service Medal with 2 Bronze Service Stars, and the Republican of Vietnam Campaign Medal with 60 device. Republican of Vietnam Gallantry Cross Unit Citation with Palm Device. Republic of Vietnam Civil Action Honor Medal Unit and Citation First Class. Not only did he serve our country proudly, he came back and became a minister, was called into the warfare of God, and he continued to preach across Mississippi upon his retirement. At this time, I would like to introduce Lieutenant Edwin Dashell.
Well, Lieutenant, please come forward, sir. Thank you so much for your service to our country, not only as a military hero, but also as a hero in the Army of God. And we certainly appreciate the way you have reflected well upon the state of Mississippi, the investments you've made in Mississippi. Would like for you to come forward and introduce the people who you have with you here.
Thank you. First of all, my wife.
Come right there. There you go.
My wife, Rita, of 52 years. Will you step forward, please? Rita, step forward. Next to her is my daughter, Jenny Cochran, her son, John Wesley Cochran, and her husband, Lieutenant Colonel retired Wes Cochran. Mississippi National Guard, 2 tours in Afghanistan. My daughter, Holly Brewer, and my daughter, Laura Beth Johnston. And I'm so proud of all of them being here today. Thank you.
The rumor has it that Clark Wise may be your nephew. Is that right?
That is absolutely correct.
Well, I noticed you didn't say that. I'm not sure you wanted that known, but he's sitting up there in the gallery. Many of you know him. So we honored Lieutenant Dashell despite Clark Wise. I would like for you to meet the 2 gentlemen to your right over there. These are 2 gentlemen of whom we are very proud. On the far end over there is Manley Barton, who served in Vietnam, the Purple Heart recipient, stepped on a landmine, suffered various injuries from Pascagoula, actually Hurley, Mississippi. And then next to him is Dr. Mike Huddleston, who was a helicopter pilot. Now, I was curious to know if that helicopter that had so much trouble was being flown by him. Do you know if that was the case or not? Okay. Well, these 2 gentlemen are our 2 Vietnam War heroes in the House of Representatives, and we're very proud of them and their service to this country. Many of you, especially you freshmen, may not know Dr. Huddleston is in a very famous photograph that appeared of a helicopter landing on a little bitty boat in a river somewhere, and they have named a helicopter after him at Camp Shelby to honor his service. So if you go to Camp Shelby today, you can find that helicopter named after Dr. Mack Huddleston, or in his honor, I should say. And there's also a picture of him on the wall when he was 19 years old when you go into the museum they have down there. So for each of you 3 gentlemen, we can't tell you how much we appreciate your service to this country. It is because of people like you that we're able to come into this chamber and do what we do here. Freedom exists because of men like you who've decided to devote yourselves to fighting for democracy and fighting for freedom that we have in this country. And there's no way we could be doing what we do were it not for these 3 gentlemen and the others like them. So please give them all a round of applause. Please let the House come back to order. Ladies and gentlemen, I was just informed that the battle which we celebrated here with Lieutenant Deschelle occurred 50 years ago on May 5th. So this is appropriate that we celebrate that on the 50-year anniversary of that. Indeed, an honor to have him here with us today. All right, I don't see any further introductions. We will go to the calendar. If you'll notice, we will go to the page 8. Bottom of page 8 begins the concurrence or non-concurrence calendar. So we will start there. Do we have any chairmen who wish to take up an item on this calendar? Gentleman from Warren.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I go to item number 3 on the calendar.
Okay.
I would concur on the Senate bill that came back, or House bill that came back.
Care to explain?
Yes, sir. So it's the exact same bill that we passed. In committee, they put a reverse repealer on it. They took it out on the floor, but for a technical reason, we have to come back. It's the exact same language as we passed over here.
Questions on the motion to concur? I don't see any. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. If you favor the motion to concur, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? I would remind those who are in the auxiliary rooms again, today you need to notify us if you wish to cast no votes. We're going to do it in the same manner in which we did yesterday. So we need to be getting those no votes up here. You'll be counted yes unless you notify us you want to vote no. Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By vote 116 yeas and 2 nays, motion to concur passes. Any other chairman have an item on the concurrence? Gentleman from Tate, Chairman of Ways and Means.
Mr. Speaker, can I invite conference from my chair?
Yes, sir.
Bear with me 1 second.
Our practice, by the way, in the past, Chairman, has been if you wish to only invite conference, you can do that from your chair. If you wish to concur, you need to come to the well. A motion to concur is tantamount to a vote on final passage. That's why we vote on motions to concur, because you're voting on final passage of the bill. A motion to invite conference is not a vote on final passage, simply a motion. So if you want to invite conference, you can do it from your chair. If you want to concur, you need to come to the well. You find it?
Yes, sir. The concurrence or non-concurrence calendar, item 9, House Bill 721, would move to invite conference.
Any question? I don't see any. If you favor the motion, indicate by saying aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion to invite conference passes. Jump from Alcorn, Mr. Bain.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have two to invite conference. Number 5, House Bill 1024 would move to invite conference.
Any question? I don't see any. If you favor the motion, indicate by saying aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion to invite conference passes. Next item.
Number 8, House Bill 658, also move to invite conference.
Questions? I don't see any. If you favor the motion, indicate by saying aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion passes. Gentleman from Grenada.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Item number 6, House Bill 1476 is moved to invite conference on that matter.
Any questions? I don't see any. If you favor the motion, indicate by saying aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Anything further? Gentleman from Walthall.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to go to item number 10, House Bill 1566, and concur.
Okay. Care to explain?
Yes, sir. There's a few changes in the House bill and the Senate. The main one is removing the provision giving the Agricultural Commission the primary responsibility for coordinating with state and federal wildlife agencies for the control of nuisance animals. In addition, allowing an increase in the number of ag and livestock theft investigators. Senate added a provision that requires training for law enforcement. And lastly, the Senate added a provision to abolish the State Fair Commission and transfer the power to the duties to the Ag Commissioner, and the Commissioner shall then hire a director to oversee the operations of the fairground. It would be confirmed by the Senate, and there's a 2-year repealer in that. That's the explanation of the bill, sir.
Questions on the bill? Jump from DeSoto, Mr. Hopkins.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Gentlemen, yield?
Yes, sir.
What exactly was the language that was added for nuisance animals?
It was some deleted. The commissioner wanted the primary authority over it, but agreed to change it where he still does outreach, but it's still with the federal and the wildlife officials have the first responsibility. He will do outreach.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Any further questions? Don't see any. Open machine, Madam Clerk. If you favor the motion to concur, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By vote 117 yeas and 1 nay, the motion passes. Anyone else have an item they wish to take up on concurrence, non-concurrence calendar? All right, we'll move on to the motion to reconsider calendar. Anyone have an item here they wish to take up? Okay, don't see anyone. Rules calendar. Chairman of Rules is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to go to item number 1 on the rules calendar and move for adoption.
All right, any questions?
I certainly think this is something that we should consider today. It's been on the rules calendar for several weeks now, waiting on him to regain his health so he could be here for this, where we could honor him. But while we're honoring our other valiant veterans of today, that we were able to do that this morning, I think it'd be appropriate that we take this resolution up this morning.
Thank you, sir. Any questions on the resolution? I don't see any. If you favor the resolution, indicate by saying aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. If I may comment on that resolution, ladies and gentlemen, we hope to get Mr. Birchfield down here at some point. His 98th birthday was on January 28th. We had scheduled that day to be the day to honor him. He got sick, had to go in the hospital, and he has since recovered, thankfully, but with the environment down here, we obviously don't want to bring him out if he doesn't have to. So hopefully we'll have opportunity to honor him another day. He is the father of Phil Birchfield. Many of you know Phil, who is the head of the Mississippi Association of School Superintendents. This gentleman, I think, is a 3-time Purple Heart recipient. So clearly one we want to honor if he's able to get down here one day. You want immediate release, gentlemen? Any objection? All right, we will do that. Appropriations passes. right, that brings us to the Ways and Means calendar. Passes. All right, brings us to the local and private calendar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Get organized here real quick. I'd like to go to item number 1 on the local and private calendar. Call up House Bill 1516. Make the usual motion.
The gentleman calls the bill up, moves that the rules be suspended. Bill considered and engrossed, read the third time, placed on final passage. All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Gentleman's recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This is for the city of Biloxi. Actually, this bill and the next bill, so I'm going to kind of talk about both of them at the same time because they're identical. What they're asking to be able to do is provide a cost of living increase for retired members of the city that retired under a particular fund. There's 2 funds out there. One is called the Relief Fund for Firemen and Policemen, and the other is just a general municipal employees retirement. But both of these funds one was started in 1940, one was started in 1987, but both of these funds have been closed for anybody to pay into it or retire out of it since 1994, I think the date is. So there's only like just a handful of people that are still in both of these programs. There's 70 in one and I think 12 in the other. There's money in there. The way the process works, PEER is actually handled these retirement funds for the city. The city is still paying into that fund. And when the last retiree passes away, the fund will be depleted. So there's money in the fund to pay these cost of living increases, and that's what they're asking for. So that's a brief explanation of the bill. If anybody has a question on 1516, I'll try to answer that question.
Questions on the bill? I don't see any. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. Question occurs on House Bill 1516. If you favor the bill, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Close machine, Madam Clerk. By vote 118 yeas and 0 nays, the bill passes. Next item.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to go to item number 2. Call up House Bill 1517. Make the usual motion.
The gentleman calls the bill up, moves that the rules be suspended. Bill considered and engrossed, read the third time, placed on final passage. All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Gentleman's recommended.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This is an identical bill to the one we just did. The only difference is this one is for a different retirement plan called the city's general municipal employment retirement system. Here again, this one was the one that was actually started in 1940, closed out in 1987. There's I think there's like 12 or 13 people still in this one. When the last one goes out, that fund will be depleted. And so they're asking to be able to give these people a cost of living increase. And that's an explanation of the bill.
Questions on the bill? I don't see any.
Move final passage.
Open the machine, Madam Clerk. Question occurs on House Bill 1517. If you favor the bill, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By vote 118 yeas, 0 nays, the bill passes. Next item.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to go to item number 3. Call up House Bill 1579. Make the usual motion.
The gentleman calls the bill up, moves the rules be suspended. Bill considered and engrossed, read the third time, placed on final passage. All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Gentleman's recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. House Bill 1579 would authorize the Board of Supervisors in Jackson County to actually sign a contract for some software that will allow people to actually log in on their computer, go through this software, and actually pay all their taxes online or whatever they need to pay. One of the things they ran into, and especially with the pandemic and the office, the tax collector's office was closed for some period of time, was that a lot of people would take advantage of it if they had the opportunity. Well, the county decided to go ahead and buy this software, install it so people could use it, and it was only at that point they found out that they were not authorized by state law to actually sign a contract with one of these out-of-state vendors if the contract required them to, I guess, give up the right to sue in state court. They'd have to go to New Hampshire or wherever the company is located. They have the software. They'd like to use it. This would give them the authority to sign that contract and be able to use the software. And I'm sure we're going to have some other counties that are, and other municipalities at some point in time is going to want to do this same thing. So that's an explanation of the bill.
Questions on the bill?
Move final passage.
I don't see any. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. Question occurs on House Bill 1579. If you favor the bill, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By vote 118 yeas and 0 nays, the bill passes. Next item.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to go to item number 4, call up House Bill 1586. Make the usual motion.
The gentleman calls the bill up, moves that the rules be suspended. Bill considered in gross read the third time, placed on final passage. All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it.
Mr. Speaker, we have a committee sub.
The gentleman moves committee substitute be adopted for consideration in lieu of the original bill. All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. You're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This is House Bill 1586 is for Coahoma County. It would allow the Board of Supervisors, which are trustees of a trust fund that the portions go to the county, to utilize a certain portion of that fund to pay for, finance, and cost and equipping a new Justice Court jail facility. It's a $4 million they are asking to be able to transfer from this fund. The balance in that fund today is $34 million. $2 million of it is going to be a capital expense. $2 million, well, all of it, I guess, is going to be capital, but $2 million is for the construction. $2 million and basically for outfitting the facility. That's an explanation of the bill.
Questions on the bill?
Move final passage.
I don't see any. Open machine, Madam Clerk. Question occurs on House Bill 1586. If you favor the bill, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Close machine, Madam Clerk. By vote of. Well, it passed, according to Madam Clerk, so I don't know what the vote was. All right, item 5.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to go to item number 5, call up House Bill 1606. Make the usual motion.
Gentleman calls the bill up, moves that the rules be suspended. Bill considered in gross read the third time, placed on final passage. All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Gentleman's recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. House Bill 1606 is for the town of Water Valley. This would levy a 2-cent tax on food and beverage, and the receipts of that would go into a special fund and would be used for tourism, parks, and recreation. It does require a vote before it can become law. It's 60% for passage, and there is a 4-year repealer. And that's an explanation of the bill.
Questions on the bill?
Move final
I don't
passage.
see any. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. Question occurs on House Bill 1606. You favor the bill, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Close machine, Madam Clerk. By vote 106 yeas, 6 nays, the bill passes. Next item.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Go to item number 6. Call up House Bill 1608. Make the usual motion.
Gentleman calls the bill up, moves the rules be suspended. Bill considered in gross read the third time, placed on final passage. All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Gentleman's recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. House Bill 1608 is for Forrest County. What House Bill 1608 would do, it would allow the Forrest County Board of Supervisors, there's a statute out there that says the county has to maintain a set of law books that's open to the public. What this would do, it would allow them, and those books are fairly expensive to buy and they're very expensive to maintain. And what this would allow them to do is have those law books in the form of electronic, so that it would be on the computer in the libraries and it would be available to the general public. And so this would allow them to do that instead of maintaining the paper full law books. And that's an explanation of the bill.
Any questions?
Move final passage.
I don't see any. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. Question occurs on House Bill 1608. If you favor the bill, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By vote 118 yeas, 0 nays, the bill passes. Next item.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to go to item number 7, call up House Bill 1621. Make the usual motion.
The gentleman calls the bill up, moves the rules be suspended, bill considered and grows read the third time, placed on final passage. All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Gentleman's recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This is House Bill 1621 would allow the Board of Supervisors in Tallahatchie County to basically accept some donated land and then turn around and lease that land for the purposes of building a memorial to Emmett Till. And so what they're asking for here is to be able to do that, and they can, the lease that they're going to enter into can be up to a period of 50 years. That's an explanation of the bill.
Questions? Gentleman Scott, Mr. Miles. I don't see any. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. Question occurs on House Bill 1621. You favor the bill, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Everyone voted. Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By vote 118 yeas, 0 nays, the bill passes. Excuse me, Jim from Scott. Mr. Miles.
Introduction out of order, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to introduce to you some of my close friends, Mr. Chris Baker, Mr. Aaron Baker, Miss Emily Baker in our South Gallery from Forrest.
All right, next item.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to go to item number 8, call up House Bill 1640, and make the usual motion.
The gentleman calls the bill up, moves the rules be suspended, bill considered and grows read the third time, placed on final passage. All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Gentleman's recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. House Bill 1640 is for the city of Natchez, and it would allow them to contribute funds to Natchez Incorporated, Film Natchez Incorporated, and the Downtown Natchez Association. The total amount is $200,000. It'd be $100,000 to Natchez Incorporated, $50,000 each to Film Natchez and Downtown Natchez, and this is a one-time contribution. And that is an explanation of the bill.
Questions?
Move final passage.
I don't see any. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. If you favor the bill, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By vote 112 yeas to 6 nays, the bill passes. Next item.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to go to item number 9, call up House Bill 1649, make the usual motion.
Gentleman calls the bill up, moves the rules be suspended, bill considered and gross read the third time, placed on final passage. All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Gentleman's recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. House Bill 1649 is a bill that the city of Hattiesburg, the city of Petal, and Forrest County have requested. It would allow them to come together and create the Leaf and Bowie River Development District. It's a little bit on the Petal side. Well, I'm not even sure what the name of the river is there, but there's a bridge that goes across it. There's a historic bridge. They are, the district will comprise of some property on both sides of that river. The bridge will eventually be turned into a pedestrian bridge. And what this will do, it will generate some income through the ad valorem taxes on that property, not additional, but out of the money they're already collecting. The cities both will contribute into this fund, and that fund will be used to improve parks on both ends, do some stuff to the bridge later as it becomes a pedestrian bridge, and make that an area that would be kind of a park, I guess, on both sides with walking trails and that type of stuff. In the terms of money, 15% of the ad valorem tax within those districts is somewhere between $40,000 and $100,000 a year. So we're really not talking about a great deal of money, but this would go to that district to help them maintain those parks, and that's an explanation of the bill.
Questions? I don't see any open machine, Madam Clerk. Question occurs on House Bill 1649. If you favor the bill, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote 118 yeas, 0 nays. The bill passes. Next item.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to go to item number 10, call up House Bill 1661. Make the usual motion.
The gentleman calls the bill up, moves the rules be suspended. Bill considered and engrossed read the third time, placed on final passage. All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Gentleman recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. House Bill 1661 is for the city of Pearl. This is an existing hotel and food and beverage tax that's owned currently, and all we're doing here is extending the repealer 4 years. They currently have 3 cents on a hotel, 1 cent on food and beverage, and that's what we're doing. No changes to the bill itself. All we're doing is extending the repealer.
Questions?
Move final passage.
I don't see any. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. Question occurs on House Bill 1661. If you favor the bill, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Jumping Pike, you gonna cast a vote? Okay. Close machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 106 yeas and 5 nays, the bill passes. All right, next item.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Go to item number 11, call up House Bill 1678. Make the usual motion.
Gentleman calls the bill up, moves the rules be suspended. Bill considered and engrossed read the third time, placed on final passage. All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Gentleman's recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. House Bill 1678 would allow the Board of Supervisors in Grenada County to establish an economic and industrial development authority. It goes into a great detail about the appointments of the trustees of that partnership. It specifies the powers and duties and so forth. It also would allow the Grenada board to dedicate 2 mills of their ad valorem taxes to the support of the Economic Development Foundation, but then it would also give them the discretion at any time to take what they call 2 mills out of their general fund if needed to actually support it too. If you look at just the 2 mills, that's about $350,000. If they did entire 4 mills that they're actually authorized, it'd be around $690,000. So that's the maximum amount that they could put into this organization. But it would allow them to create this, and that's an explanation of the bill.
Questions? I don't see any. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. Question occurs on House Bill 1678. If you favor the bill, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 116 yeas and 2 nays, the bill passes. Next item.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to go to item number 12, call up House Bill 1736. Make the usual motion.
The gentleman calls the bill up, moves that the rules be suspended. Bill considered and engrossed read the third time, placed on final passage. All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it.
We have a committee sub, Mr. Chairman.
The gentleman moves committee substitute be adopted for consideration in lieu of the original bill. All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The gentleman's recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The House Bill 1736 is for Jackson County. These are gives them the authority to contribute funds out of their general fund to several local organizations. Alcohol treatment program for $25,000. Mary C. O'Keefe Art Center in Ocean Springs, $20,000. The Pasco River Audubon, $10,000. United Way of Jackson and George County, $10,000, for a total of $65,000. That's an explanation of the bill.
Questions? I don't see any. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. Question occurs on House Bill 1736. If you favor the bill, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 112 yeas, 6 nays, the bill passes. Next item.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to go to item number 13, call up House Bill 1468. Make the usual motion.
Gentleman calls the bill up, moves that the rules be suspended. Bill considered and gross read the third time, placed on final passage. All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Gentleman's recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. House Bill 1468 is for the city of Pass Christian. The committee sub here, it takes just a little bit of explanation.
We need to adopt that, gentlemen.
I'm sorry.
Gentleman moves the committee substitute be adopted for consideration in lieu of the original bill. All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. You recognize, gentlemen.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This city of Pass Christian was one of the first people who came forward and got a golf cart bill. So you have to go back about 7 or 8 years. When they passed that one, and when we passed that one at that time, it had a lot of detail in it, much more complex than the golf cart bills we do today. And so they came back, they needed to make some additional changes in it, which was one of the things that we tried to avoid later, was giving the cities more discretion in terms of defining their own ordinances, and they wouldn't have to come back here every time they wanted to make a minor change. So the committee sub is literally replacing their bill with the current standard language we put in everybody's golf cart bills. So all we've done is taken what they did in 2013, and we've kind of brought it up to date to what we actually consider standard language today as far as golf cart bills are concerned. It still requires a driver's license, it requires insurance, it requires that it be registered and have some kind of registration with the city. And those are all standard things we put in all the golf cart bills today, but that's an explanation of the bill. Now, this is for the city of Pass Christian.
Questions on the bill? I don't see any. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. Question occurs on House Bill 1468. If you favor the bill, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Closed machine, Madam Clerk. By vote 117 yeas and 1 nay, the bill passes. Next item.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to go to item number 14, call up House Bill 1770. Make the usual motion.
The gentleman calls the bill up, moves the rules be suspended. Bill considered and gross read the third time, placed on final passage. All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Gentleman's recognized.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This would, House Bill 1770 would authorize the city of Charleston to, they have some federal grants that they are required to have a match for. The match is approximately $150,000. This is a very small town, and so what they're asking for is to be able to borrow that $150,000, but yet go out on the length of the loan or the length of the bond longer than what is normal. And so what they're asking for here is to be able to go out 15 years if they have to. But this is something they need to be able to do to be able to take advantage of these grants that they have been awarded. And that's an explanation of the bill.
Questions on the bill? I don't see any. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. Question occurs on House Bill 1770. If you favor the bill, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By vote 116 yeas and 2 nays, the bill passes. Next item.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to go to item number 15, call up House Bill 1777.
Gentleman calls the bill up, moves the rules be suspended. Bill considered and gross read the third time, placed on final passage. All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Gentleman's recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. House Bill 1777 is for the city of Blue Mountain. What it would do, it would allow them to take their water and sewer system outside the city limits. By statute, they can go out a mile. Also under that statute, they can go out another mile or two if they go to the Public Service Commission and get their request approved. If they want to go beyond that, this is a typical process. They have to come to us and ask for permission to go outside of that 2 or 3 mile area that they're already authorized by law. In this case, they do want to go beyond that. And so this doesn't change the process, though. We are not giving them the right to go out there and run water and sewer. What we're giving them the right to do is go to the Public Service Commission and get the certificates that they have to go through and the public hearings and all that. And eventually, if they're successful, they will get awarded a certificate of public convenience and necessity. And it also puts that part of their system under the jurisdiction of the Public Service Commission, rates, fees, everything. So that is an explanation of the bill. Anybody have a question?
Questions? I don't see any. Open machine, Madam Clerk. Question occurs on House Bill 1777. If you favor the bill, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Closed machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 116 yeas and 2 nays, bill passes. Next item.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to go to item number 16, call up Senate Bill 2119. Make the usual motion.
Calls the bill up, moves the rules be suspended. Bill considered engrossed, read the 3rd time, placed on final passage. All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Gentleman recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Senate Bill 2119 is for the city of Pontotoc. They currently have a 2% tax on hotel, motels, and food and beverage for tourism, parks, and recreation. And what we're doing here today is the only thing we're changing is we're extending the repealer for 4 years to 2024. That's an explanation of the bill.
Questions on the bill? I don't see any. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. Question occurs on Senate Bill 2119. If you favor the bill, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Closed machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 106 yeas, 5 nays, the bill passes. Next item.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Go to item number 17, call up Senate Bill 2150. Make the usual motion.
Gentleman calls the bill up, moves the rules be suspended. Bill considered engrossed, read the 3rd time, placed on final passage. All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Gentleman's recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This is another golf cart bill for the city of Walnut Grove. It would allow the operation of low-speed vehicles and golf carts. It defines what those all are. It's this is the standard language we put in all of them: a driver's license, insurance, registration, and that's an explanation of the bill.
Questions on the bill? Gentleman from Prentice, Mr. Arnold. Try it now.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Gentleman yield?
Yes.
Gentlemen, why don't we just do this statewide and be done with it?
Well, we had 2 general bills this year. If either one of them had passed, I wouldn't be standing here talking about golf carts. We had a Senate bill and a House bill, and both of them died. So we'll try it again next year.
Is it? Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Any questions?
Don't see any further questions. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. Question occurs on Senate Bill 2150. If you favor the bill, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Closed machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 117 yeas and 1 nay, the bill passes. Next item.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Senate Bill 21, I'm sorry. I want to call up item 18, Senate Bill 2183. Make the usual motion.
Gentleman calls the bill up, moves the rules be suspended. Bill considered engrossed, read the 3rd time, placed on final passage. All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Senate Bill 2183 is for the city of Houston. This is a tax that's been in place for 4 years. It's a 2% hotel, motel, food, and beverage. It's used for tourism, parks, and recreation. And the only thing we're doing here is extending the repealer by 4 years. That's an explanation of the bill.
questions? I don't see any. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. Question occurs on Senate Bill 2123. If you favor the bill, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Closed machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote 106 yeas and 5 nays, bill passes.
Next item.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Go to item number 19. Call up Senate Bill 2271. Make the usual motion.
Gentleman calls the bill up, moves rules be suspended, the bill considered engrossed, read the third time, and placed on final passage. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Gentleman, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Honorable Mr. Speaker. This is Senate Bill 2271 is for Wayne County. This is a bill that's passed a number of years ago initially. It allows the, and this is a small county, but this allows them to collect either a $50 or a $25 on misdemeanor convictions that are it's an assessment that's added to whatever their civil case is. And then that money is then put into a special fund that was used to help construct, and then once it was constructed, pay for the operation and maintenance of their justice court complex. And what we're doing here, all we're doing is just extending the repealer for 4 more years. Any questions?
Don't see any, gentlemen.
Move final passage.
Gentleman moves final passage. Open machine, Madam Clerk. If you're in favor of the bill, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 112 yeas, 5 nays, the bill passes. Next item, gentlemen.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to go to item number 20. Call up Senate Bill 2885. Make the usual motion.
The gentleman calls the bill up, moves the rules be suspended, the bill considered engrossed, read the third time, and placed on final passage. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Gentlemen, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Senate Bill 2885 is for Greene County, but in a sense, it's essentially the same bill we just passed. In Greene County, they have a $15 fee as opposed to the other, but it goes into a special fund for the same purpose of maintaining the Greene County Justice Court Complex. And what we're doing is just extending the repealer 4 years.
I don't see any questions, gentlemen.
Move final passage.
Gentleman moves final passage. If you're in favor of the bill, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 114 yeas, 4 nays, the bill passes. Next item.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to go to item number 21, call up Senate Bill 2908.
Gentleman calls the bill up, moves the rules be suspended, the bill considered engrossed, read the third time, and placed on final passage. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Gentlemen, you're recognized.
Thank you very much. Senate Bill 2908 is for the city of West Point. This is an existing food and beverage hotel motel tax of 1%. We're extending the repealer 4 years, and the proceeds of that, or the revenue from that, has to be in a special fund and can be only used for tourism, parks, and recreation. That's an explanation of the bill.
Questions on the bill? I don't see any, gentlemen.
Move final passage.
Gentlemen's move final passage. If you favor the bill, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 106 yeas, 5 nays, the bill passes. Next item, gentlemen.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to go to item number 22, call up Senate Bill 2921.
Gentleman calls the bill up, moves the rules be suspended, the bill considered engrossed, read the third time, and placed on final passage. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Gentlemen, you're recognized.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Senate Bill 2921 is a little different than what we've had in the past. This would authorize the city of Vicksburg to set by ordinance rules and regulations dealing with these motor-assisted scooters. A lot of big cities are having these now. People rent them to get around downtown and so forth. They're treated in many respects, and talks about in the bill, they're treated much like a bicycle. Bicycle trails, bicycle areas in the city they can use. It does not require a driver's license, but it does require someone to be old enough to drive. So they'd have to have at least be of age to be able to get a driver's license, even though it doesn't require that they have one. And this would allow the city of Vicksburg to put those rules in place. We do have a 4-year repealer in it because we would like to look at this. This is something a little new. We want to see how this works, and so we'll look at it again in a couple of years. But that's an explanation of the bill, Mr. Speaker.
Gentlemen, I don't see any questions, but I do have one. Do you mean the Honorable George Flaggs maybe riding around on a scooter down in the...
I'd like to see a picture of that.
I don't see any questions, gentlemen.
Move final passage.
Gentlemen's move final passage. If you're in favor of the bill, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 118 yeas, 0 nays, the bill passes. Next item.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to go to item number 23, call up Senate Bill 2924, make the usual motion.
Gentleman calls the bill up, moves the rules be suspended, the bill considered engrossed, read the third time, and placed on final passage. All in favor say aye, opposed no. The ayes have it. Gentlemen, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Senate Bill 2924 is for the city of Winona. This is a 2% food and beverage tax that is designated to promote tourism, parks, and recreation within the city. It's been on for 4 years. They have asked to extend the repealer. That's the only change in the bill. It has a 4-year extension in the repealer, and that's an explanation of the bill.
Questions on the bill? Don't see any questions, gentlemen.
Move final passage.
Gentleman moves final passage. If you're in favor of the bill, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 106 yeas, 5 nays, the bill passes. Next item.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We'll call up, go to item number 24, call up Senate Bill 3033. Make the usual motion.
Gentleman calls the bill up, moves the rules be suspended, the bill considered engrossed, read the third time, and placed on final passage. All those in favor say aye. Opposed no. The ayes have it. Gentlemen, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Senate Bill 3033 is for the city of Goshen. It's another golf cart bill. It's identical in language to others. It has the same requirements. It does proof of insurance, registration with the city, driver's license, and so forth. City of Goshen would like to be able to do this, and they've asked for this bill this year. So that's an explanation of the bill.
Questions on the bill? Lady from Pearl River. I'm sorry, she passed.
Will you yield?
Yes.
Would you be open to me holding this on a motion so I can add Pearl River County? I believe we had a generic bill which died, and I'd like to add Pearl River County to one of these golf carts to one of these bills.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to do that, we'll work with you.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen.
Okay.
I don't see any other questions, gentlemen.
Move final passage.
Gentleman moves final passage. If you favor the bill, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 117 yeas, 1 nay, the bill passes. Next item.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Go to item number 25, House Bill 1778. Call it up and make the usual motion.
Gentleman calls the bill up, moves the rules be suspended, the bill considered engrossed, read the third time, and placed on final passage. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Gentlemen, you're recognized.
Mr. Speaker, we have a committee sub. Have a committee sub.
So we're going. Gentleman moves to adopt the committee sub in lieu of the original bill. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Gentlemen, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The committee sub is literally, there's a number of counties here, I'm going to name them, but there was, Marshall County was in the original bill. Marshall County went and got their own bill, so they were pulled out of this, but they're doing it separate bill. But what this would allow, under the provisions, it would allow Alcorn, Benton, Prentiss, Tippah, and Tishomingo counties to all contribute to the Northeast Mississippi Community Services Group. And literally it will allow them individually to contribute an amount not to exceed $150,000. And what this does, this is a law that's actually been in place for a good many years, and all we're doing is extending the repealer, 4 years. And that's an explanation of the bill.
Questions on the bill? I don't see any, gentlemen.
Move final passage.
Gentlemen's move final passage. If you favor the bill, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 116 yeas, 2 nays, the bill passes. Next item, gentlemen.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Go to item number 26, called up Senate Bill 2909. Make the usual motion.
Gentleman calls the bill up, moves the rules be suspended, the bill considered engrossed, read the third time, and placed on final passage. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Gentlemen, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Senate Bill 2909 is for Jackson County. Counties, by statute, have the authority to create what they call special taxing districts. One of the taxing districts that they can create is what they call lighting districts, where they come in and put in street lights and that kind of stuff. These lighting districts are always set up at the request of the landowners who live there. So they're going to pay for it, but they can go through a process to allow the county to actually maintain them and so forth. In Jackson County, we have, I think, 7 or 8 of these lighting districts around the county. A group in one part of the county has now requested a new lighting district, but it's adjacent to an existing lighting district. And what the county ran into initially was just trying to expand the existing lighting district to include this new area that wants to be included. They ran into a bunch of problems. And so what this will do, this will allow the county to expand an existing one or merge with another one and give them that authority. As right now they're kind of up against the wall, and they've either got to create a new lighting district, which doesn't make a lot of sense, and it be right next to the existing lighting district. So all we're doing here is giving the county the authority to expand or merge one lighting district with another. And that's an explanation of the bill.
Questions on the bill? I don't see any, gentlemen.
Move final passage.
Gentlemen's move final passage. If you favor the bill, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 118 yeas, 0 nays, the bill passes. Next item.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Go to item number 27, call up Senate Bill 2985. Make the usual motion.
Gentleman calls the bill up, moves the rules be suspended, the bill considered engrossed, read the third time, and placed on final passage. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Gentlemen, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Senate Bill 2985 would allow the city of Belmont to expand their natural gas. We just had a bill a few minutes ago that was water and sewer. Exactly the same situation. By law, they can go 1 mile out. Here again, by law, they can go another couple of miles out, but that other couple of miles, they've got to go to the Public Service Commission to get permission to actually expand. What this will allow them to do is go beyond that 2 miles. Here again, they still have to go, this is 5 miles, and what they would have to do is go to the Public Service Commission. They'd have to jump through all the hoops they would normally have to go through. They have to get a certificate of public convenience and necessity, and they would also be under the jurisdiction of the Public Service Commission on rates and those types of things. So that's an explanation of the bill.
Questions on the bill? I don't see any, gentlemen.
Move final passage.
Gentleman moves final passage. If you favor the bill, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 116 yeas, 2 nays, bill passes. Next item, gentlemen.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to go to the item number 28, which happens to be my last bill, and call up Senate Bill 3008. Make the usual motion.
Gentleman calls the bill up, moves the rules be suspended, the bill considered engrossed, read the third time, and placed on final passage. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Gentlemen, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This is for the city of Oxford. They have a trust fund that was set up a number of years ago from the sale of a hospital. That trust fund has been putting money back into the city for many years. In that original trust document, there was a specific comments in there that dealt with specifically the way those funds could be invested. And the only thing they're changing here, the original language had to do with investments authorized under the public employee retirement system. And all they're doing is they're changing that trust so that it can invest the fund in accordance with the Mississippi Uniform Prudent Investor Act. So it's just, that's all they're asking for. They're not taking any more money out of it, but it's just the way that the trustees can invest the money. And that's an explanation of the bill.
Questions on the bill? Don't see any, gentlemen.
Move final passage.
Gentlemen's move final passage. If you favor the bill, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 118 yeas, 0 nays, the bill passes. Anything further, gentlemen?
Local and private yields the floor.
Gentleman from Prentice, I believe we'd entertain a motion to recess subject to call. Just to check, be sure we've got all our bases covered before we leave.
I move this House stand in recess subject to call.
You heard the gentleman's motion. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. We'll stand in recess.
Please let the House come back to order. Announcements, Mr. Clerk. Announcements, Madam Clerk.
Rules will meet after adjournment in room 302.
All right, announcements by the members. Jim Jones, Mr. Scoggin.
Yes, sir, Mr. Speaker. I would like to invite the House members that are interested. Howard Solutions is going to be in room 204 this afternoon at 3 o'clock to talk about some computer and distance learning. If any members of the House are interested in distance learning issues, they're going to be there and talking about some computers and issues associated with that. We'd love to have you come by and talk to them.
Jim from DeSoto, Mr. Eubanks.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to ask for unanimous consent to change my vote on item number 19 on the local and private calendar from nay to yay.
Any objection? Change the gentleman's vote. Any other announcements? All right, I don't see any. Recognize the gentleman from Prentice for the motion.
Mr. Speaker, I move that this House stand adjourned until 9 a.m. on Friday, June the 19th, 2020, and that the journal shall remain open until the last committee report is received.
You've heard the motion. All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. House adjourned till 9 a.m. tomorrow.